Hello everyone and welcome to the Anime Zillion, and thank you for joining me as we discuss more of the Tower of God Webtoon series. In this video I'll be exploring a bit more of the Crowned Game arc. Now I did plan to finish this arc in this current video, but due to unfortunate circumstances, i.e. my internet basically just being seriously bad right now, I can't actually upload the other chapters that I need to finish the arc itself. I don't even know how I'm going to upload this video. I'm probably going to have to wait until my internet returns, which could be later on tonight, or it could be tomorrow morning. Yeah, so apologies about that. I'm having real internet troubles. And you know what else isn't returning? A knack. And that obviously is going to be to a throne, because in this block of chapters of the Crown Game that I'm going to be talking about, she's no longer on there, because a lot of interesting bits of dialogue are sprinkled throughout this set of chapters that kind of piqued my interest, and I thought I'd share my thoughts with you watching this video. So let's explore them, shall we? Oh, that's a bit of a long intro. So then we follow on from the last time, and does Lori get turned into a shish kebab thanks to Hatz's sword? No. But the following chapters for Lori's character are really something else. They show off his character in such a positive and unique way that I really did like. They show off his combat skills, but more importantly, his tactician skills. In being able to plan ahead and to come up with the best solution / strategy for victory. I thought that was really cool for his character. It showed that he isn't just a one-trick pony or just some lazy, lax character. He's actually a really good, thought-out character that is pretty smart, and even smarter than Kun, I would have said. But I'll get to that in a minute. Now, he's able to realise that the defending team only has a disadvantage for the first and second round of this game. After that, they gain a sizable advantage over the attacking teams trying to steal the crown from them, as the goal is to steal the crown and the throne within 5 minutes. So the attacking teams wouldn't be fighting for defensive teams, i.e. the team with the crown, more so the other attacking teams. And this makes it, a lot easier / less work for the team that are on the throne defending it. So basically, we have a case in where each team wants to win. So if more than 3 teams enter the round after the third round, then the line of defense can't really be broken because each team would be keeping each other in check, causing a stalemate of sorts until that 5-minute timer runs out. I mean, come on, this was pretty obvious, right? Okay, I was kind of like, well, that's pretty smart, pretty clever, awesome. And still in relation to Lori's character, we learned that he is able to use Shinsu. You know, that weird thing that Leiroro used to kind of entrap that guy and cause him intense pain, and that kind of wall thing they had to walk through? Yeah, he can use that in a offensive manner, as in attacking manner, not rude. But he's able to use this, and he's able to basically use a considerable amount while controlling it very skillfully in a, selective area. He's able to kind of blast it out like a Kamehameha or whatever struggle beam you want to think of. Plus, it's also stated that he's a wave controller, something that hasn't been mentioned in this series so far, but if you watch the anime, you obviously know what that is. And I thought that was pretty interesting. It's a word that they just drop in there that makes you go, what's a wave controller? I don't know what that is yet. So it makes you want to read on, and if not, learn about the abilities of Shinsu and what it can do. It just kind of makes you learn what a wave controller actually is. It's not a strong desire to read ahead to find out what that is, because you could just look it up. But at the same time, it still hooks you a little bit and makes you a little bit more intrigued to explore the lore of the tower, which is something that I can really get behind. Personality-wise, though, we see that, yes, he comes across as quite lax and maybe a bit too lazy, always wanting to sleep in a sleeping bag, but he really is committed and has a lot of pride, as he really didn't take too kindly to being dragged away and forced to forfeit his fight when his team were against a Nax team. Like, he really thought he could win and take a Nats down and be on the crown, basically. Be on the throne. And he probably could have, if his team had stayed in. But unfortunately not. We see him sulking, and this just builds on more character and personality to him, and I think that it works really nicely. But honestly, I think the coolest thing about this character is that he's able to kind of stay in the sleeping bag while fighting off a knack, and I thought that was like a bit of a flex, and it was pretty cool. And yeah, Laurie's character in this part of the chapter, and this part of the block of chapters that I'm covering, I thought was very effectively used. And it worked really nicely to the point where I actually found myself really liking this character by the end of it. They didn't do this in the anime. Instead, they just left it for the webtoon series. And I thought that it does this character a bit of discredit in the anime. Like, you know, he's a cool character. We want to get behind him and learn more about him. Instead, from the anime's point of view, we look at this character and we just think he's a lazy guy that just likes to sleep. And he has a lot of hidden potential, but we haven't seen it yet. So, of course, that keeps us intrigued and wondering why. And then, obviously, this part of the webtoon series, this type of media, kind of gives us a bit more kind of insight into his character, which I really do like. Character building and development is something that I'm purely interested in when I read something. Yes, the plot is really good and is important, and so is the art style, and so is like just general characters in general, but I love it when they build on characters and expand on their characters and on the world building itself. I think that's really cool, so I love the way they did that here. The Serena content was somewhat intriguing, as it alludes to her having to face a lot of hardship and struggles in her past, as it states that she's had to run away from roughly 80% of the times when she's been in front of a The Serena content was somewhat intriguing, as it alludes to her having to have faced a lot of hardship and struggles in the past, to where it states that she has ran away roughly 80% of the time when in a confrontational situation. So much so that it allows her to develop a good sense of enemy and risk awareness, allowing her to know when the time to run is and how far she can push her luck in terms of that sort of mindset. I think that's pretty cool. It gives us a bit more insight to the character, and honestly, when they were talking about this character in the anime, I really wasn't that bothered. This character, to me, just push it to one side. I really did not care about this character, and they're giving it to us a bit early here, which I thought was a better move, because it gives us more time to kind of explore the character, and it builds on this team. All around, it's a good showcasing for just this team in general. Well, apart from Hal's character, but I think we're going to get that possibly soon, if the webtoon follows the anime properly. Anyway, moving on. Yay, some more Black March content. Well, kind of. The confrontation between Anak Jihad. Yes, that's right, she's a princess. Hence why she possesses the Green April. And Bam, he's the current holder of the Black March. And this confrontation was positive for both characters in question. Of course, that being Bam and Anak. I think they really did play well on both characters and help improve both characters ever so slightly. Bam held his own and held his ground in not giving up the Black March to Anak, even when she demanded and even threatened him to do so. And what I thought was really great was Bam kind of saw the ruthlessness and the display of power that Anak kind of previously displayed in the fight against Law's team. That, you know, he still wasn't scared or cowardly in, you know, standing up for himself. He was like, no, I was said to give this back to Yuri. I'm going to do this. I'm not going to betray Yuri's trust in me. Instead, I am going to hold on to it. I thought that was really good. Yes, he was a bit jittery and he wasn't like full of confidence, but it's still improvement. Where on the other hand, Anak showed more a serious side of herself, and even after realizing that the Black March belonged to Yuri, it was almost like she wanted to see Yuri. It's safe to assume that Yuri would no doubt go searching for the Black March once Bam disappeared. And Anak probably knew this. So of course, to us as readers, we know that Yuri is following after the Black March to get it back, and Anak could probably be on the same sort of line of thought process. So this obviously would lead us to the question as to why Anak wants the Black March, if it could lead her to another Princess of Jihad. Is there a deeper meaning to this than just for power? Or does she have some beef with Yuri to kind of attend to? We'll have to stay tuned and find out as more chapters progress. Plus, I also don't think that the Black March thinks Anak is her type, unless they kind of go with the Anak as a trap trope, which I don't see happening, ever. But hey, it's anime, kind of, so anything could happen. Again though, a real positive step forward for both Bam's character and Anak's character in seeing their growth in this segment, and we get left with a new rule that if Bam's team wins, he gets the Green April, but if his team loses, Anak gets the Black March. So we get more story and plot progression, and that obviously excites me even more moving forward. Layra Rowe's comment about Anak failing to meet his expectations was also pretty cool and interesting, as it hints to the idea or possibility that he has battled Yuri in the past. A fight that I really do want to see, because Layra Rowe, he's a pretty decent character. At first, I wasn't quite sure if I liked him, and Yuri is obviously one of my favourite characters, and I wouldn't mind seeing how those two kind of interacted in the past, because it does allude to that, and hopefully we can get some more kind of backstory and hint on that later on. But yeah, that'll be quite exciting if they do that. Kun and Bam's interaction was alright. It keeps up with the difference in upbringing, which kind of feels a little bit unsettling now, especially if you've seen the anime. I'm not going to go too much into that because it's spoilers for those of you who haven't actually read the Webtoon series or watched the anime. You won't know what I'm talking about in that regard, so I won't elaborate on that even further. But if you've seen both, then you would kind of know what I'm talking about. To Kun, he seems to have been taught not to trust anybody. We see his mother kind of saying, don't trust anyone. And we saw that in the previous chapters in where he's kind of doing the Hong Sung Yu challenge, if I remember correctly. And we see a bit more of his inner struggles. You know, on the one hand, he still wants to trust Bam and wants to get behind him. And we see that. He still kind of does get behind him and helps Bam in this game. He even acknowledges that Bam's pretty amazing for the way that he handled Anak, managing to get her off the throne, and even stood up to her and stayed true to his own words and beliefs. Which, yeah, I gotta give Bam props for that. The scene with Rachel and Bam learning about not betraying women wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. The anime makes it a bit more of a deal. Sorry. The scene with Bam and Rachel learning about betraying women wasn't as bad as I thought it would be in this Webtoon series. The anime makes it seem a bit more unusual and a bit more kind of mysterious. But speaking of unusual, it's kind of weird how Rachel has got a book that is labelled Cool Guy Book for Bam. That seems a bit odd. A way to maybe program someone into believing or acting or thinking a certain way. After all, everything that Bam knows, Rachel taught him. So, is that something to keep in mind as we move forward? We don't know, we'll have to keep moving forward. We haven't seen Rachel yet for a while. Let's see if she pops up anytime soon. Overall, these were a good, great set of chapters with some brilliant character showcasing and development. Plus, the story is moving forward while adding on more pressure to the characters and more excitement for us as the audience. It's an honest shame that I can't continue reading at the moment, as I really do want to kind of dive straight into this and tell you my thoughts on each chapter as I go through them. But if I get time to do another set of chapters, maybe on Saturday when I've got a bit more time, then I will do my best to do so. Unfortunately though, I have to try and get my internet sorted out so I can do that. But if I can't, then again, I do apologise, but fear not, I'll be back next Thursday with more Tower of God Webtoon content. That's right, I'm moving it to a Thursday simply because I have a bit more time on a Thursday than I do on a Wednesday night. It's just less stressful for me to do it this way. So apologies if you're upset with that, but I kind of have to do it. Sorry. But the art style was really clean and has improved a decent amount in this block of chapters. Since the Crown game has started, the art style has kind of improved a lot. And I really do appreciate that because that's one thing that was hindering my enjoyment ever so slightly. But now it's kind of made me go, you know what? I'm actually liking it a lot more. But I leave you with one more question. Who is smarter, Kun or Lori? Post your answers down in the comment section below. Like the video if you did. Subscribe if you're new so you never miss a video from me. Plus, if I missed anything in these chapters, you'll see like the chapters I'm covering on screen. Then let me know down in the comments and we'll have a good chat about it. I can still do that at least. Alligator, thank you for watching. Alligator, Martinet. Goodbye.